Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Assistant Chief Constable Stuart Houston, and I had oversight of Operation Branchform, Police Scotland's investigation into the embezzlement of funds from the Scottish National Party. This was a lengthy and extremely complex case due to the scale of the criminality over a 12-year period and the lengths Peter Murrell went to try and cover his tracks. I commend the professionalism and absolute dedication of the Operation Branchform team, who spent more than 4 years carrying out extensive inquiries across Europe to unpick Murrell's offending. All of this work, in close partnership with colleagues from the Crown Office and Procurator Fiscal Service, was carried out under the most intense public scrutiny, and it was their commitment to gathering such detailed and compelling evidence that brought us to the High Court today. This is without doubt one of the most high-profile investigations in recent times, and it is testimony to the work of Police Scotland officers that has led to Peter Murrell's admission of guilt early in the court process. I would also like to thank the many witnesses who came forward to provide us with statements as they built the case against Peter Murrell. Their engagement with us was vital. Peter Murrell has shown utter contempt for the high public trust placed in him as the chief executive of a political party and his position in the wider political establishment in Scotland for many years. He abused his privileged position with access to Scottish National Party funds to divert cash into his own accounts and bankroll the lavish lifestyle he craved but could not afford. From 2010 to 2022, he spent hundreds of thousands of pounds on luxury goods while carefully trying to hide his criminality with false receipts and accounting. He must now face the consequences of his actions. Thank you.
How calculating was his offending?
The fact is that it's taken such a complex amount of time and detail and the volume that you've probably seen from some of the lists that have been released is that ability to cover up where he was taking items and that those purchases that were hidden for such a long time.
Stuart, Police Scotland's been criticised about the length of time this has taken. What's your message to the critics today?
I think that the volume and nature of the real complexity in regarding financial crimes that was committed, it has taken some time, but that was crucial. And again, the fact is that we stand here today that the person has pled guilty to the work that Police Scotland, along with Crown Office and Procurator Fiscal Service colleagues, have put in place to ensure that a thorough and robust investigation was conducted.
Does this admission of guilt bring Operation Branchform to a close, or are you looking to make possible further arrests in future?
At this stage, as you're well aware, we have reported a number of the circumstances for Operation Branchform to the Crown Office and Procurator Fiscal Service, and at the moment for Police Scotland, the inquiry is now complete.
Stuart, some sources in the SNP publicly criticised the police during the investigation, describing the probe as grotesque. They were particularly offended at the big blue evidence tent in the garden of the former First Minister's home. Do you feel vindicated against these kind of charges?
I'm not here to get into the political nature of what may have been behind that. What I would say is Police Scotland and myself overseeing that have a duty to investigate any crimes. The nature of the tent, I'm well aware of the public scrutiny there has been now about that, and I would give an explanation, and the fact is, as you've probably seen from the list of items that have been detailed today, we were aware when we had a lawful warrant to search that home address that we might find a number of those items. The tent was placed there to ensure the integrity of the investigations of what we were removing from the house, and the fact is, any breach of that integrity could have jeopardised the case, and we may not be in the position we are today, where we have Peter Murrell pleading guilty to a significant charge at the High Court.
How much cooperation have you had from the SNP?
Again, throughout the investigation, there's a number of people with the SNP that we've spoken to, and again, it's about that, making sure that we were gathering the correct amount of information from everybody that we've had to engage with.
Did you have to use warrants as a repeated, tactic during the investigation?
Well,
because they say they cooperated fully.
Well, again, I think you're aware that we obviously searched the house under warrant and office premises, which again was part of any investigation that I would see to conduct of such a high value and high nature that we would carry out in lawful warrants to obtain the evidence.
What's the cost to date on the Operation Branchform to the taxpayer?
Well, again, I'm aware that a recent Freedom of Information has been released in relation to it exceeds £2 million regarding the cost of investigating to Police Scotland.
Assistant Chief Constable, you described Peter Murrell living a lavish lifestyle. Were others around him aware that this was going on and that this was as a result of offending?
Again, what others may be aware of, that's a matter for them to answer, what they may or may have not have known regarding the conduct and the criminal behaviour of Peter Murrell.
But does it seem credible to you that they wouldn't have known, given the extent of the crimes that we're now aware of?
Again, as you were aware, we arrested and interviewed other persons during the course of this investigation, and after direction and engagement with the Crown Office, Procurator Fiscal Service, no one else was charged in relation to those offences. Whether any of those individuals, their knowledge, is certainly a question for them and not for myself.
Stuart, is there a wider lesson here to other organisations, corporate bodies, about their own internal governance and how they might have to tighten up things?
Again, I don't think that's for me to mention about how other corporate bodies may run their organisations. What I would say, then, the message from me is that I'm confident that Police Scotland carried out a thorough investigation into matters that were reported to us that saw financial misconduct, that we were able to establish the truth of what had happened and some of the way that monies had been spent, but also the individual that was responsible for that.
In terms of this extensive list of items which have been bought, have Police Scotland recovered all of them, or are there some that have been unable to be found?
Well, again, that's obviously, you will see the list yourself. I know that that has been released, and the fact is some of those items may be consumables that are maybe no longer present. So again, I wouldn't like to comment on any particular items on the list.
Thanks very much, folks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Cheers.